Years after my wife's betrayal forced me to vanish without a trace, fate brought me face to face with a young man who claimed to be my son. Be me, 43-year-old Robert Anderson, professional structural engineer in Sacramento, just finished massive Chicago project ahead of schedule, living the dream after 20 years of hard work. Every bridge and foundation I design becomes a masterpiece, built reputation through pure dedication and excellence. Tall, fit from daily 5 a.m. gym sessions, steel blue eyes that catch every detail. Prevented countless structural disasters through attention to detail. Built perfect life for my family through same precision. Driving my silver Audi through quiet suburban streets. Perfect Sunday afternoon in late October. See my custom-built Victorian home coming into view. Perfect lawn and flawless exterior matching my organized life. Notice Elizabeth's black Lexus in driveway, next to our oldest Thomas's Toyota Camry, teaching him responsibility despite our wealth. Something feels off about the house today. Usually hear Kevin's gaming victories, or Isabella's piano practice, but everything's dead silent. Pull out briefcase with Chicago Mall contracts. Another success for the portfolio. Looking forward to surprising family with early return. Enter through side door. Perfect working order, obviously. Keep everything maintained meticulously. House still eerily quiet. No Elizabeth and Thomas are home, but usual activity missing. Hear voices from upstairs. Start walking towards stairs. Curious about conversation. Suddenly freeze mid-step. Paternity test results finally arrived. Elizabeth's voice dripping with smugness. Never heard this tone in 18 years of marriage. Her words hit like sledgehammer. None of the kids are your biological children. Once he pays off your college fees, we'll break the news at graduation. Then I'll take the house and his assets in the divorce. Time freezes completely. World sharpens like my engineering calculations. Every detail suddenly crystal clear, standing absolutely still. Trying to process this bombshell. Mom, are you sure about this? Thomas's voice shaking with uncertainty. He's always been there for us. Elizabeth's laugh cuts through air like razor, cold and dismissive. Oh please, Robert's been nothing but a convenient paycheck? So wrapped up in his career, so proud of taking care of everyone. Never questioned why I spent so much time with Christopher. Mind racing through years of memories, connecting dots never questioned before. Christopher, how could I have missed it? Our trusted family doctor, the man who delivered all 3 children. Reality hitting hard. All those dinner parties, golf outings, family gatherings, taking on sinister new meaning. Been completely blind. Thomas voicing my exact thoughts. What about Isabella and Kevin? They both look up to Dad so much. How are they going to handle this? Please, Elizabeth snaps. Voice cold as winter, dismissing younger children's feelings like trash. Christopher's their real father anyway. After divorce settlement, we'll have plenty of money. Robert's new contracts will set us up for life. Her casual tone makes stomach turn. Woman who smiled at me for years, played perfect wife, all while planning to destroy everything. Everything's been set up perfectly, Elizabeth continues, sounding proud of herself. Christopher and I have been working on this for years. Your dad is so predictable. Always working, always trusting, always playing devoted husband. He's built us such a beautiful life. Perfect to walk right into when we're done with him. Each word reveals new layer of betrayal. Years of deception, carefully planned, executed with terrifying precision. Elizabeth explains their whole scheme. How medical appointments were perfect cover for secret meetings. Manipulated mutual friends to hide their affair. Used my long hours at office against me. Christopher's made sure everything's covered at the practice, her voice full of admiration for her lover's planning. The medical records will back up our story. Robert won't be able to contest anything once truth comes out. His reputation for being such a straight arrow will work against him. No one will believe he didn't know. They start discussing life after their revelation. Elizabeth dreaming about lavish trips using my money, planning to redecorate my house once it's hers, talking about how easily social circle will adjust, all carefully orchestrated by them. Can't listen anymore? Back away from stairs like ghost? Head to my study. Pass family photos in hallway, each one mocking me now. Pictures from family gatherings. Elizabeth's warm smiles. Christopher's arm casually around her at neighborhood barbecues, school events where we stood side by side, one the father, one the family friend, every photo exposing hidden truth. Like engineering puzzle pieces falling into place. Finally reach my desk. Surrounded by certificates and awards, reality hits hard. How deeply I've been played. Entire career built on precision. Identifying hidden flaws, preventing disasters, made me perfect target. Elizabeth and Christopher used my dedication, counted on long work hours, exploited my trusting nature, shield their affair, irony not lost on me, Structural engineer who spots hidden weaknesses. Couldn't see cracks in own home. But this isn't like professional projects. This structure of lies deserves to collapse. That evening, stick to usual routine. Moving like robot. Everything changed inside. Sit through dinner silently. Watch Elizabeth play doting wife. Asking right questions about Chicago trip. Smiling at perfect moments. Never hinting at afternoon scheming. Kids following normal routines. Thomas focused on college applications. Interactions with mother noticeably strained. Burdened by weight of her revelation. Isabella practicing piano. Mournful notes matching Day's painful discoveries. Kevin fighting about bedtime. Teenage rebellion masking innocence. Soon to be shattered. Observe them all with new clarity. See Christopher's features in their faces. Details dismissed as Elizabeth's family traits. Doesn't lessen love for them. Just shows cruel precision of deception. Later that night, house finally silent. Sitting alone in study. Structural engineer who prevents collapses. Now facing ultimate test of integrity. Elizabeth and Christopher spent 18 years crafting lies. Confident their plan was flawless. Timing perfect. Made one grave error in calculations. Mistook my dedication for weakness. Assumed my trust was blindness. Thought my love for family was tool to manipulate. But I'm not one to be played for fool. Same mind that prevents structural failures. More than capable of orchestrating one. Next morning, rise at usual early hour. Kiss Elizabeth goodbye. Her practiced smile shows no hint of treachery. Head to office like nothing's wrong. To anyone watching, just normal day. Respected engineer ensuring buildings stand firm. But beneath calm exterior, mind working with steely resolve. Elizabeth and Christopher made fatal assumption. Thought I'd keep playing dutiful husband. Diligently working to build assets they'd seize. Maintaining life they planned to steal. Believed they had me exactly where they wanted. What they didn't realize, underestimating Robert Anderson would be their downfall. 18 years of marriage, 3 children, countless moments of manufactured happiness. Might have destroyed another man, but I've spent career understanding how things fall. So I can prevent it, this time using knowledge to bring something down. Elizabeth and Christopher's plan, years in making, hinged on one key factor. My ignorance, calculated every move, manipulated every relationship, accounted for every detail, except one crucial thing, never considered possibility. Their mark would discover truth before they could spring their trap. That evening in living room, watch Elizabeth closely. She keeps checking phone, no doubt messaging Christopher about their imminent victory, completely unaware. Their careful plans about to undergo structural integrity test. This time I won't prevent collapse. They can't grasp true cost of betrayal. Won't be measured in years of deceit, but in magnitude of their downfall. Man they deemed too trusting, too consumed by work, about to demonstrate consequences of underestimating me. Methodical nature that made me great engineer, now fueling response to Elizabeth's betrayal. For 2 weeks maintained perfect facade of normality. While carefully dismantling web of lies, wife and Christopher spun. First step involves examining financial records. Late night in home office. Uncover disturbing pattern of transactions, revealing extent of their treachery. Small sums siphoned from joint accounts over years. Accumulated into significant hidden stash. Well played, Elizabeth. Mutter while scrutinizing bank statements. Classic case of death by 1,000 cuts. Next morning, get call from bank's fraud department. Mr. Anderson detected unusual activities in joint accounts. Yes, I suspected as much. Need to arrange meeting with Andrew Thompson today if possible. Andrew, branch manager, handled my accounts for decade. When we meet, his expression grows serious, as I lay out evidence of Elizabeth's systematic theft. This is highly irregular, Andrew remarks, flipping through documents. These transfers occurring for years. Exactly why I'm here, reply firmly. Need complete record of every transaction. Can you help with that? Of course, responds hesitantly. But given pattern, should discuss protecting remaining assets. My smile lacks any warmth. That's exactly what I had in mind. Later that week, stumble upon emails. Between Elizabeth and Christopher, password to Elizabeth's laptop. Kevin's birthday shows how careless their hubris made them. Messages expose years of careful deception. From info@medicalconnect.com to updates at financesecure.com. Subject, upcoming meeting. Everything in place for your appointment next Tuesday. Robert's Chicago trip gives us ample time. The kids' medical records are secured. No one will ever question paternity. Your husband too wrapped up in precious buildings. To see what's right in front of him, download all correspondence, managing digital forensics with engineer's precision. Each piece of evidence cataloged, dated and safely backed up. Discreet inquiry through professional contacts leads to Samuel Powell, divorce attorney known for handling complex cases. With unrelenting efficiency, meet in Samuel's downtown office. deliberately far from prying eyes. Tell him everything. From his office overlooking courthouse I helped design. Lay out evidence meticulously. Financial records, emails, medical documentation. Watch Samuel's eyebrows rise higher. With each shocking revelation, they've certainly been thorough, lawyer acknowledges. But their arrogance is good thing for us. Arrogant people tend to slip up. Want to ensure children are protected first and foremost? State firmly, biologically they're not mine, but Samuel interrupts, raising hand. In every way that matters, they are yours. We'll set up trust funds. Rock solid ones Elizabeth won't touch? Press on. Elizabeth and Christopher been spreading rumors, painting me as emotionally unavailable, hinting at abuse. Classic setup for sympathy play? Samuel nods knowingly. Won't work in their favor. Your reputation, records, steady presence in children's lives, all assets in this situation? In days that follow, notice subtle changes in Elizabeth's behavior. She starts taking more private calls, arranging urgent meetings with Christopher, casting suspicious glances my way. Is everything okay? She asks one evening, voice unnervingly probing. You seem different lately. Glance up from laptop. We're meticulously reviewing trust fund documents. Just concentrating on work, dear. The usual? Her smile doesn't reach eyes. You're working too hard. Maybe should consider taking time off. After Thomas graduates, study her closely. Note how she flinches slightly. At mention of upcoming celebration. Next day, Christopher calls my office. Robert, it's been too long since we caught up, says with false warmth. Elizabeth mentioned you've seemed stressed. Why don't you come in for checkup? Thanks for concern, Christopher. Reply keeping tone cool and controlled. But I'm in perfect health. Call confirms worst fears. They're accelerating plans. Later that evening, overhear phone conversation between Elizabeth and Christopher. He knows something's off. She hisses. We need to expedite this. Calm down. Christopher reassures her. Voice clear on my recording device. We've been preparing for this for years. He won't be able to prove anything. But what if? Trust me, I've got everything under control. Medical records, paternity tests, our entire narrative. It's foolproof. Robert's too straight-laced to fight dirty. Once we file abuse claim, it's merely precautionary insurance. No judge will award him joint custody. With domestic allegations hanging over him, kids will always side with you. That's how these situations play out. Plus explains why you've needed so many medical appointments. Over the years, grim smile tugs at my lips. Add recording to evidence file. Their hubris becoming Achilles' heel. Following week, they make their move. Hit with notification of domestic abuse complaint. Lodged with police. Accusations crafted with precision. No physical abuse. Just claims of emotional manipulation. Controlling behavior. Which would be challenging to disprove. But I'm ready. Compile detailed records of whereabouts during each alleged incident, alongside solid evidence of Elizabeth's affair and conspiracy. Detective Victoria Wong reviews documentation, eyebrows rising in astonishment. This is remarkably thorough, Mr. Anderson. She says, visibly impressed. I'm an engineer, detective. Meticulous documentation is second nature. These abuse allegations seem particularly retaliatory. She notes, especially given timing and accompanying recordings. After Elizabeth discovers abuse claims dismissed, takes her next desperate step, receive frantic call from Andrew at bank. She's attempting to drain joint accounts. Reports urgently. Let me guess. Interject. Transferring funds to account we've been tracking? Exactly. But as agreed, those accounts now frozen. Thanks, Andrew. End call. That evening, Elizabeth's mask finally slips, storms into my study, face flushed with pure fury. What did you do? She demands. Voice sharp as broken glass. Look up completely unruffled. You'll need to clarify that. The accounts! I can't access our money. Our money, echo back, raising eyebrow. Interesting choice of words. Especially considering separate account. You've been filling for years. Elizabeth's face turns ghostly white. You? Yes, me. The husband who's been too absorbed in his precious buildings to notice what's right under his nose. Isn't that how Christopher described it? Have you been spying on me? No, Elizabeth. I've simply been protecting myself. There's significant difference between those two. She quickly regains composure, cruel smile flickering on face. It won't matter once truth about children comes out. You mean paternity Christopher helped you conceal? Falsified medical records? Conspiracy you both conveniently documented in emails? Elizabeth steps back. her confidence crumbling like poorly built foundation. You're bluffing. Remember, I'm an engineer. Voice steady as steel beam. I deal in facts, not bluffs. Children will resent you when they learn truth. Truth. My voice remains unwavering. Truth is, I've loved them, supported them, been constant presence in their lives. Truth is, you and Christopher plan to exploit them. Use them as pawns in your game. Truth, Elizabeth. Is that you've underestimated me one last time? With that, she flees study, hastily dialing Christopher's number. Return to work. Methodically adding our exchange to growing collection of evidence. Elizabeth and Christopher invested years, crafting their perfect plan, failed to consider one crucial detail, chose wrong man to betray. Next morning, Samuel calls. They're getting desperate. Christopher attempted to access your medical records. At hospital. Let me guess. Records supporting their abuse claims? Ask with calculated interest. Exactly. But hospital's internal audit flagged unauthorized access. Reported it immediately. Nod while adding new development to files. They're making significant mistakes. Agreed, Samuel replies. How are you holding up? I'm fine. Assure him with genuine calm. Everything unfolding according to plan? In days that follow, Elizabeth and Christopher become increasingly frantic, their carefully constructed scheme unraveling. Thread by thread, every move they make is anticipated, countered with precision. Each desperate attempt to salvage plan only provides more evidence against them. Friends start sensing something's wrong. Begin asking questions. Elizabeth's efforts to maintain narrative about my emotional abuse collapses under weight of contradictory evidence, while Christopher's professional reputation takes first serious hits. As rumors of ethical breaches circulate through medical community, watch it all unfold with detached perspective of engineer, observing controlled demolition. Each frantic action by Elizabeth and Christopher only weakens framework of their deceit, their position crumbling, dream of escaping with my assets, and reputation intact, slipping away. Outcome they can only blame on themselves. As 2 weeks draw to close, have painstakingly put everything in place. Trust funds for children securely established. Assets protected. Evidence against Elizabeth and Christopher meticulously organized. Their desperate attempts to seize control, thwarted at every turn, while they spent 18 years crafting web of lies, needed just 14 days to dismantle it completely. Now all that remains is waiting for perfect moment to bring carefully constructed scheme crashing down. On morning of Thomas's high school graduation, sun shining brightly through kitchen window, standing at granite countertop at 5:30 a.m., methodically arranging documents. DNA test results lay next to divorce papers, each page decisive blow. To Elizabeth's carefully built facade, Samuel Powell filed divorce papers day before, making sure everything legally set. Before big reveal, grounds clearly stated. Adultery and fraud spanning nearly 2 decades? Documentation so comprehensive, no room left for denial. Everything's ready, Samuel assured. During final meeting, trust funds are rock solid. Each child's education and future secure. Completely separate from divorce proceedings, place 3 sealed envelopes beside documents, each labeled with one child's name. Inside they hold truth. Bank statements showing Elizabeth's systematic theft. Email exchanges between her and Christopher, plotting their betrayal. Medical records exposing Christopher's manipulation of paternity information. Most importantly, each letter contains heartfelt words for children. To Thomas, express pride in letter, not in grades or trophies, but in young man's evolving sense of integrity. Include details of college trust fund, ensuring eldest won't sacrifice future. Isabella's letter celebrates her love for music and art dreams that Elizabeth always dismissed as foolish. Created separate fund for artistic pursuits, guaranteeing she can chase passions without financial constraints. For Kevin, youngest, include tickets to gaming convention. We'd been excited to attend, fully paid and transferable. Letter emphasizes family defined, not by DNA but by love and choice. Hear footsteps approaching upstairs. Feel surge of determination. Already removed essentials from house, leaving behind remnants of life. Elizabeth plotted to steal. Elizabeth first to enter kitchen. Expensive dress from Nordstrom. Purchased with my money. Clinging to her like final mask, she freezes at sight of documents on counter. What's this? Her voice wavers, revealing cracks in facade. The truth? Reply evenly. Push DNA results closer to her. I suspect you're already familiar with it. As I speak, Elizabeth's face drains of color. While scanning papers before her, "These are fake?" she exclaims, voice rising with panic. You can't fake 18 years of marriage, Elizabeth. Can't fake Christopher's medical records. Or your love for your children? Shot back, Tone unwavering. You don't understand. Elizabeth's voice shifts into manipulative tone, perfected over years. I did it for the children. No, interrupt firmly, voice steady as steel. You did it for yourself. And now you can live with consequences. Heavy footsteps on stairs. Announce Thomas's arrival. Walks into kitchen, wearing graduation robes. Stops short at sight of tension. Crackling in air. Dad, Mom, what's going on? Your mother was just about to explain. Say with calm demeanor, contrasting sharply with brewing storm. About paternity tests. About her plans for after your graduation. About Christopher. Thomas's face shifts from confusion to recognition. Weight of mother's revelation evident. What do you mean, Dad? About how none of us are his kids, he says, voice hardening. About taking his money after graduation. Isabella and Kevin appear in doorway, drawn by raised voices. Their confusion morphs into shock. Taking in scene. Documents scattered across counter. There are letters for each of you. Gesture toward envelopes. Everything explained inside. Along with proof, choice of what to do with information is yours. Elizabeth lunges for papers, but anticipated this move. Copies already safely stored with Samuel. Digital versions secured in multiple locations. You can't do this! Elizabeth's composure cracking. Christopher and I cut her off mid-sentence. Christopher and you have lost. Divorce papers are filed. Your secret account's frozen. Trust funds for children beyond your reach. Just then, Elizabeth's phone buzzes. Christopher, right on schedule. Allow myself small smile. As she answers, Christopher, they know! Panic laces her voice. He knows everything. Watch her face contort in disbelief. What do you mean your privileges are suspended? How can they do this? Children read their letters, their world shifting beneath feet. Isabella's hands trembling. As she absorbs truth of mother's deception, while Kevin's jaw clenches tight. At revelations about Christopher, I've transferred ownership of company shares. Announce voice steady and authoritative, like during engineering presentations. To protected trust, house mortgage has been reassigned. Your credit cards deactivated by noon. You can't just leave us with nothing. Elizabeth shrieks, desperation creeping into voice. Nothing? My tone turns cold. Nothing is what you planned for me. At least I've ensured children are provided for, more than you and Christopher ever intended. With my assets, doorbell rings, glance at clock. Samuel Powell right on time. First traces of fear flicker across Elizabeth's face as lawyer enters carrying additional documentation. Mrs. Anderson. Samuel greets her formally. Have some papers requiring immediate attention. He states, initiating careful dismantling of Elizabeth's elaborate facade, outlines legal repercussions of her actions. Fraud. Financial theft. Collusion with Christopher. Each point reinforced by unassailable evidence. Watch as Elizabeth struggles to regain control. Desperate attempts to spin narrative. Portray herself as victim. Falling completely flat. Documentation too comprehensive. Evidence too damning. The children need me, she pleads. Last-ditch effort to elicit sympathy. No, Mom. Thomas cuts in, tone unwavering. We needed the truth. Dad gave us that. Along with the choice, Isabella and Kevin position themselves beside him. Their solidarity testament to my years of authentic parenting, starkly contrasting. With Elizabeth's manipulative strategies, I'm leaving now. Announce voice steady as bedrock. Letters explain everything else you need to know. Trust funds are secure. Your children's educations and futures protected? Turn to Elizabeth, gaze unyielding as steel beam. Goodbye, Elizabeth. Christopher's likely waiting for your call, but doubt his support will hold up. Now that your plans have collapsed, exit house for last time. Sound of Elizabeth's phone ringing reaches ears. Her frantic conversation with Christopher confirms everything. Their once flawless scheme in tatters, reputations in ruins, futures hanging by thread. What followed was meticulously crafted aftermath, unfolding exactly as envisioned. Elizabeth and Christopher's attempts to contest divorce crumble against weight of overwhelming evidence. Mutual friends once complicit in deceit turn backs in disgust. When faced with proof of decades-long manipulation, Christopher's medical license comes under fire. As falsification of records uncovered, privileges he exploited to shield affair, and manipulate paternity claims become very instruments of his downfall. Don't linger to witness fallout. Plotted complete departure. New city, new opportunities, new life. My revenge lies not in their destruction, but in transcending their betrayal. While ensuring they face consequences, graduation ceremony unfolds as planned, but outcome far different from what Elizabeth envisioned. Instead of marking her triumph, signifies public onset of her downfall. Later that day, Samuel calls to confirm final details. Everything's on track? Elizabeth's attempts to access accounts blocked. Christopher's lawyer already looking to negotiate? No negotiations, respond firmly. They chose their path. Now they must walk it. Trust funds established will secure children's futures. Letters written ensure they understand truth. My departure prevents Elizabeth and Christopher from manipulating or blaming me longer. News of Elizabeth's unraveling spread swiftly. Through social circle, carefully curated image of me as emotionally distant crumbles under weight of evidence, revealing Elizabeth's long-standing deceit. Christopher's once illustrious professional reputation disintegrates as details of ethical breaches emerge. In final act of defiance, send email to mutual friends, attaching critical pieces of evidence that lay bare full extent of Elizabeth and Christopher's betrayal. Last move in game already won. Don't need to embellish or explain. Facts compelling enough on own. As plain ascends that evening, reflect on meticulousness of response to betrayal. For 18 years, Elizabeth and Christopher woven intricate web of deception, scheming to claim everything I built. Instead, they'll spend years grappling with consequences of actions, while children they cynically used, now free to chart own destinies. Structural engineer known for ensuring stability, had executed flawless controlled demolition of his marriage, ensuring only guilty trapped in rubble. 4 years slip by, each day passing like blueprints through Robert Anderson's hands. Precise, deliberate, every detail carefully placed. Vancouver becomes ideal canvas for new life. City's endless mountains and glass towers resonate with methodical spirit. Reputation as structural engineer continues rising. From corner office at Thompson and Anderson Engineering, have panoramic view of city helping reshape. 5 major projects bear my signature. Revolutionary earthquake-resistant hospital. Sustainable corporate headquarters. Bridge celebrated in local papers as masterpiece. On typical morning. Immersed in plans for latest project, Thomas finally finds me. Mr. Anderson. Secretary's voice crackles through intercom. Young man here to see you. Says his name is Thomas. Pause, hand hovering over blueprints. Been prepared for this day? Leaving trails of breadcrumbs for children to follow. If they chose to seek me out, Thomas steps into office, taller than remember, exuding confidence of college senior. Though features mirror Christopher's, it's integrity in eyes that sets him apart. You weren't easy to find, Thomas remarks, standing just inside doorway. That wasn't the point. Reply, gesturing toward chair. Point was you could find me. If you wanted to, Thomas takes seat, assessing man who raised him. Mom lost everything. House friends, reputation, all of it. Bitter smile flickers across his face. And Christopher? He left her moment divorce settlement came through. Turns out his love was hollow as hers. Nod unfazed. And what about your siblings? Isabella's flourishing at art school? Trust fund you set up made that possible. Kevin's finishing high school? Top of his class in computer science? Thomas pauses, heavy silence enveloping them, as unspoken words hang in air. Remain quiet, giving Thomas space to gather thoughts. Mom lives in 1-bedroom apartment now. Works at Target folding clothes. She's been trying to reach us, begging for forgiveness, claiming she's changed. Thomas's voice hardens, revealing hurt beneath. None of us want anything to do with her. That's your decision to make. Reply steady and resolute. 2 men exchange moment of understanding, weight of shared history hanging between them. Not merely reunion, but reckoning. I made sure you'd have that freedom. Thomas continues. Christopher's medical license suspended. Review board uncovered more cases of falsified records. He left mom after divorce settlement, taking half of everything. Last heard he moved to Montana. To start fresh, my expression remains unchanged. Fate of betrayers no longer concern. Mom told us you were emotionally distant. Thomas says, leaning forward. Claimed you cared more about buildings than us? But you're the one who made sure we were cared for, who gave us truth, and let us choose own paths. That doesn't make a father. Say simply, Thomas pulls out phone, displaying photos of Isabella's art exhibitions and Kevin's robotics competitions. We've been keeping track of your projects too. That hospital design in Edmonton? Kevin says it's brilliant. Conversation grows easier as we speak. Thomas shares stories of college life, his aspirations for graduate school, how he and siblings supported each other. In aftermath of parents' betrayal, Isabella and Kevin want to see you. Thomas finally says, watching my reaction, when you're ready. They understand if you don't want to. I'd like that. Interject. warmth spreading through me. Fact that children I raised want to reconnect means more than any victory over Elizabeth and Christopher. Over next few months, Isabella and Kevin visit separately, each encounter mending another fragment of what Elizabeth and Christopher sought to destroy. Isabella arrives first, her artistic spirit wrapped in quiet resilience, shares photos of her installations. The trust fund changed everything, she explains. Mom always insisted art was waste of time, said I needed to be practical like her. But you believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. Reply voice thick with emotion. That hasn't changed. Kevin, now nearly as tall as me, animatedly discusses technology and engineering, his enthusiasm infectious. Your letter helped me understand what integrity really means, he says during visit. Seeing how Mom and Christopher's lies caught up taught me what not to become. Elizabeth's desperate attempts to re-enter lives become constant background noise they all learn to ignore. During one visit, Isabella reports new incident. She showed up at my dorm, claiming she was changed person, had learned her lesson, but all I could think about was how she and Christopher tried to take everything from you. Kevin's encounter with Mother at grocery store reveals just how far she's fallen. She was in Target uniform. He recounts, face set in disbelief. Looked nothing like woman who used to host dinner parties and plan our lives. She tried to hug me, broke down crying when I walked away. With each passing year, my success flourishes. Firm gains recognition for innovation and integrity, attracting major clients across country. Irony isn't lost on me. While Elizabeth folds clothes and Christopher rebuilds practice in Montana, my wealth and influence multiply. Your mother keeps trying to friend me. On social media, Amanda, my secretary, mentions one day, should I block her? She's not worth effort. Reply with hint of bitterness. Let her see what she lost. Children's visits become more frequent. Family dinners at my penthouse. Replace obligatory gatherings of past. Forge new traditions. Stronger for being chosen, rather than enforced. Thomas brings his fiancée to meet me first, eager for approval. You're the one whose opinion matters, he explains, feels swell of pride. Isabella seeks my guidance on gallery showings and commissions, while Kevin calls regularly to discuss engineering concepts and career choices. Family we rebuilt isn't bound by blood, but something far more powerful: truth, respect, and conscious choice. Elizabeth's betrayal cost her everything she schemed to obtain, while my integrity gave something far more precious than material loss. Do you ever regret how thoroughly you dismantled their plans? Thomas asks one evening, watching sun dip below Vancouver mountains from my balcony. Consider question carefully. Regret would imply they deserved mercy. Your mother and Christopher spent 18 years plotting to take everything I built. Wielding my love for you three as weapon, they earned every consequence. Children understand weight of words, witnessed firsthand how betrayal, disguised as love, could devastate strongest foundations. More importantly, seen how integrity and strength could rebuild something even more robust. From ruins, Elizabeth's desperate attempts to reconnect continue over years, each ignored message, echoing finality of my resolve. Her words drip with loneliness and regret. Promising change? Hollow promises holding no weight. Mom's getting desperate, Isabella says after another failed attempt. She even suggested family counseling, claiming we could all heal together. My response characteristically blunt. Healing implies she has something worth saving. She made her choice 18 years ago. Now she can live with it. As time passes, contrast between our lives grows starker. While my firm thrives and expands into new cities, and children flourish in their pursuits, Elizabeth remains trapped in small apartment, folding clothes at Target. Christopher, who rebuilt modest practice in Montana, had remarried but lost that family too, when his past caught up with him. Your revenge wasn't about what you did to them, Kevin observes during regular dinner. It was about succeeding without them, finding happiness despite them, and letting them watch from sidelines, smile at youngest son's insight. Best revenge is building something they can never touch. As years go by, my definition of success evolves, not about impressive buildings designed or wealth accumulated, about family that chose to come back. Thomas's wedding, Isabella's gallery openings, Kevin's graduation, each milestone celebrated without Elizabeth. Another victory over shadows of past. Family photographs in my office tell new story. 3 children who chose truth over convenience, integrity over betrayal. Father who earned their love through action rather than biology. Elizabeth's betrayal cost her everything she once valued, while my principles gifted me family bound by choice rather than obligation. Revenge wasn't in calculated destruction of Elizabeth and Christopher's plans, but in peace and fulfillment found in new life, and in love, children chose to offer. Even after uncovering truth, price of betrayal had been everything Elizabeth held dear, while reward for integrity was family stronger than blood. 10 years after my masterful dismantling of Elizabeth and Christopher's scheme, consequences of betrayal continue rippling through their lives in unforeseen ways. Elizabeth Anderson, having reverted to maiden name after Christopher abandoned her, still works evening shift at Target, small one-bedroom apartment in less desirable part of Burnaby. Starkly contrasts life she plotted to steal. Designer clothes once adorned her, now distant memory, overshadowed by reality of choices and emptiness they left behind. Elizabeth sits on threadbare couch, scrolling through social media, seeing glimpses of life she could have had. Former friends share updates, celebrating milestones with families. She longs for connection shattered, dreams chased but never reached, yet deep down knows no one to blame but herself. As she stares at walls closing in, weight of decisions presses heavily on her shoulders. Silence of small apartment. Constant reminder of life chosen to destroy. Luxury cars and designer clothes, replaced by clearance rack outfits and bus passes. Elizabeth's attempts to regain social status spectacularly backfire. Former friends who once graced lavish dinner parties now cross street to avoid her. Country club membership revoked. Following revelation of affair with Christopher, weekly routine revolves around folding clothes and stocking shelves, punctuated by painful ritual of scrolling through social media as her children celebrate life's milestones. Without her, did you see photos from Thomas's daughter's christening? She asks only remaining friend, fellow retail worker during lunch break. Robert was there. He's grandfather now. And I wasn't even told about pregnancy. Christopher's downfall equally dramatic. After medical board suspended license in Vancouver, efforts to rebuild in Montana collapse when past catches up with him. His second wife leaves, upon discovering history of deceit, taking half of what little remained of his assets. Now in early 60s, Christopher operates small medical consultation business in Billings, limited to reviewing files rather than treating patients. His once respected reputation now bears permanent scar. Mark that time alone cannot erase. Medical board's investigation unveiled additional ethical breaches beyond falsifying Anderson children's records, revealing troubling history of professional misconduct spanning entire career. Responses from hospitals and insurance companies become standard. Dr. Wilson's recommendations will be taken under advisement. Polite way of indicating his opinions hold little value. In stark contrast, my empire flourishes beyond ambitious dreams. Thompson and Anderson Engineering now boasts offices in 8 major cities, with innovative designs reshaping skylines across North America. My memoir, Building on Integrity, A Structural Engineer's Journey, becomes essential reading in engineering programs. Though never named Elizabeth or Christopher, lives of my children reflect strength that comes from choosing truth over convenience. Thomas, now successful corporate lawyer, married Olivia, brilliant neurosurgeon. Their daughter Charlotte becomes focal point of my life, prompting me to design and build home that architectural magazines hail as perfect blend of form and function. Isabella's artistic career soars. Her installations explore themes of truth, deception, and chosen family, showcased in galleries worldwide. She finds love with Hannah, a gallery curator who understands healing power of art. I walk her down aisle at their wedding moment, Elizabeth discovers only through local newspaper article. Kevin follows in my footsteps, but carves his own unique path. Found software company, specializing in structural analysis programs, marrying my engineering precision. With his passion for technology, he marries college sweetheart Sophia. Their twin boys spend weekends in my workshop, learning art of building things that last. Annual Anderson family gatherings at my Vancouver penthouse become legendary in social circle. Children, spouses, and now grandchildren celebrate holidays and milestones together, each gathering testament to resilience and strength of chosen family. Contrast between our lives and Elizabeth could not be starker as she folds clothes in small apartment, heart aching with knowledge that while she once sought to steal, life built on love and integrity now finds herself isolated, reflecting on choices that led her to this lonely existence. Their bond grows stronger from choices they made, not blood that bound them. Elizabeth's Christmas cards, sent diligently each year, arrive unopened, tossed aside without second glance. Her attempts to reach out to grandchildren through social media futile. I ensured neither she nor Christopher could leverage money to regain access, as trust funds keep them secure. Your mother was spotted at mall again. Olivia mentions to Thomas one evening. She tried to approach Charlotte. Did she say anything about her real grandmother? Thomas replies, referring to my mother, who stepped into role of loving grandmother, that Elizabeth failed to fulfill. Christopher's third marriage collapses when new wife discovers history of deceit, his adult children from first marriage. Upon learning of betrayal towards Andersons, sever all ties with him. Now in his 60s, struggles to make ends meet with medical consulting business that barely covers alimony payments. His attempts to publish in medical journals met with polite rejections. Stark contrast to once stellar reputation. Karma, Isabella remarks during family dinner. Doesn't need assistance when truth doing its job. Meanwhile, mutual friends who once fell for Elizabeth's false narrative about my emotional distance now seek my counsel on both personal and professional matters. My reputation for integrity and strategic thinking flourished over time. Several friends even invested in firm, their faith rewarded by consistent success. As years unfold, my connection with children deepens. Become confident they turn to. For significant life decisions, grandfather who never misses recital or game. Father who demonstrated character worth more than biology. Family photographs adorning office tell compelling story of triumph over betrayal. Thomas's law school graduation. Isabella's first solo art show. Kevin's launch of tech company. Each image captures moment of success, rooted in foundation of truth that I painstakingly built. Elizabeth observes this happiness from shadows of social media and local news coverage. Walls of her cramped apartment, lined with photos of children. From happier time, forever frozen in past, she can no longer touch. Christopher relegated to consulting. From home office and billings, occasionally searches for former medical practice, which blossomed into successful clinic. Under new ownership, his medical license remains permanently restricted. Name becomes cautionary tale. In ethics seminars, neighborhood children still gossip about Elizabeth at Target store, whispering about woman who lost everything because of her lies. She bears marks of stress and despair. Designer anti-aging cream once relied on, given way to generic brands. Trips to luxury salon replaced by DIY dye jobs. In cramped bathroom. In stark contrast, I've aged gracefully. Achievements draw admiration from younger women, but focus remains steadfast on family and work. My reputation as one of nation's leading structural engineers, matched only by role as devoted father and grandfather. How do you feel about mom now? Kevin asks one evening, during family gathering, his twins happily playing with cousins. I don't reply, tone unwavering. She's not worth energy of feeling anything. Price of betrayal had been absolute. Elizabeth and Christopher hadn't just lost material comforts and social standing. They forfeited very things. They tried to steal family, respect, and peace. Their punishment wasn't rooted in any single action I took against them. It lay in daily reminder of everything they threw away. Legacy of their betrayal served as testament that true family transcends biology, that integrity outlasts deception, and most devastating revenge is living well in plain sight. Of those who sought to destroy you, my greatest victory wasn't found in buildings designed or wealth amassed, but in family that chose me, respect earned, and peace found in knowing that justice often unfolds exactly as intended. For Elizabeth Anderson and Christopher Wilson, real punishment wasn't merely losing possessions or status. It was agony of watching from sidelines. As family they tried to dismantle, flourished without them. United by bonds stronger than lies, they thought would never be unearthed. Cost of betrayal, not just measured in lost assets and missed opportunities. It resonated in relentless realization that some choices carry consequences that time cannot erase. Now in Vancouver penthouse, looking out over city I helped shape, surrounded by family who chose truth over convenience, love over obligation, integrity over deceit. While Elizabeth spends evenings alone in cramped Burnaby apartment, staring at old family photos, Christopher reviews medical files in modest Montana office, both haunted by weight of what they destroyed and can never reclaim. Truth is, they didn't just lose wealth and status. They lost chance to be part of something genuine and lasting, a family built on choice rather than manipulation, a legacy founded on truth rather than deceit. They sacrificed everything meaningful for fleeting material gain, now forced to watch as their elaborate scheme became foundation of something better than what they tried to destroy. Their betrayal taught children value of integrity, price of dishonesty, and power of choosing one's path, lesson worth more than any inheritance they could have stolen.